Hello, nerds! Thank you for joining me here on Nerd News Clips. This is the second channel. This is the place for all of the short-form content as well as the individual sections and just generally speaking smaller things. If you are into the longer form content, youtube.com/generallynerdy is the place to go see that. With that out of the way, let's get into this. TV streaming is where we are now. We have some follow-ups over here on TV streaming. First up, we have a release date for the Mayfair Witches, as well as a new trailer, which probably should have put this in the trailer section, but whatever. Release date for Mayfair Witches is now January 8th of 2023. Super excited. Go watch the trailer. Hopefully they can update this in a similar fashion to the Interview with the Vampire stuff, because Anne Rice stuff translates rather well. That being said, let's move on. Next, for the follow-ups in TV streaming, Succession Season 4 has been announced. We'll be launching sometime in the spring of 2023. And then we have The Witcher. We just got the announcement that they are in active production currently on Season 4 and 5 for the Netflix series. And then our final follow-up for TV streaming is Flash, the 9th and final season, we now know is going to feature the Red Death, which is really weird to bring in as a farewell season thing because dark multiverse and all of this stuff that the Red Death implies. There are a bunch of rumors around the Red Death, which we will get to in the rumor mill. But right now, all we know for certain is that Red Death is going to be in this because we've seen pictures of Red Death on set in the Red Death costume, which is why there's rumors, because it's who is in that costume. Well, that's subject to some debate. So that is what we have for follow-ups and corrections for TV streaming. Our next trailer is the Silent Hill Ascension trailer. It's kind of more teaser, a little bit more explanation, still leaves you with a lot of questions because I'm not still convinced that this is going to be a series in the traditional sense of the word. Actually, we know it's not going to be in a traditional sense of the word, but I don't know if there's going to be live action actors or if this is going to be some sort of game interactive thing, or if it's just going to be like pick your own adventure a la Netflix, but through text messaging. I don't know what it is. They're billing it as a series. They're billing it as a live action, or they're billing it as a live interactive event series or something like that. Lots of buzzwords included. It's going to be live. You're going to be able to interact with it. How you're going to be able to digest it is the part that very much remains to be seen. Is it going to happen through Netflix? Is it going to happen through a game console? Who knows? But as we find these things out, we would definitely be talking about it. This is one of the other things that was announced at the Silent Hill special broadcast last week. We touched on it ever so briefly, though if you're on a syndicated outlet, you didn't hear it. We touched on it ever so briefly in an audio clip that I had to kind of inject really quick into the editing process, and it looks intriguing. I'm going to say that much, and we're going to move right along. Our next trailer comes from Titans Season 4. Not only are we getting Brother Blood, Mother Mayhem, and Jinx, but we also are getting a really badass looking Lex Luthor. I'm digging it. Like I said, I have a little bit of catching up to do on Titans, but yeah, this is gonna be pretty big. I really like where they're going with the DC TV stuff, at least on HBO. That is all we have for trailers. Let's talk about regular ass news. We are in TV streaming, and that means we have one downer piece to start the regular ass news. Leslie Jordan, actor Leslie Jordan, has passed. You will remember Leslie Jordan from Will and Grace. He was in American Horror Story 1984. He was in, he's done a lot of stuff. He was in quite a bit of things. And he was 67. It's very kind of foggy as to the cause of death. Apparently there was some sort of, well, no, as to the details, I guess, because cause of death is fairly obvious. He was in a car accident. But the car accident was because of a medical emergency, and that's all we can really get. So it's a sad day because, he was really funny. He was really good at what he did. Granted, he got kind of typecast a lot, But I mean, if you're good at a thing and you love to do the thing, then why not lean into it? And I feel like that's what Leslie Jordan did. Absolutely. So all of that being said, we're going to take a moment and remember the comedy that we got, the amazing career, honestly, that this man had given us. Leslie Jordan, you will be missed.
Intimate and personal and boring.
Oh, please. It's not going to be anything like that. It's more like a party. Celebration of her death. Life. So I'll see you both tomorrow afternoon. I'll be receiving from 5:30 till 6:30.
Boy, that's gotta be a long hour for you.
All right, so that is, we got to come out of that. So we have Geiger is where we're going next. Geoff Johns and Gary Frank are bringing their Image book to Paramount, which means very likely Paramount Plus is where it is going to be released. The series, the live action series, again, that is going to Paramount, is going to be showrun by Geoff Johns himself. He is going to serve as head writer on the project. And for those of us that don't know exactly what Geiger is, it is apparently a story based on nuclear fallout, post-apocalyptic world in 2050. It seems in certain aspects to resemble that of Fallout series, but it's a little more action-packed, as evidenced by the image that you're very likely viewing on screen right now. Yeah, it's definitely not Fallout, but similar story elements from what I've been able to gather. I have never read this book, so somebody please let me know, is this book worth a read? I mean, Geoff Johns is kind of always a win, but not always, just like 90% win. So yeah, I might be interested in checking this one out. Either way, it is getting turned into a live action series. Let's move on. Next is, this is the big one. It's technically has to do with everything, but I put it in TV streaming because at the time there wasn't as much in the TV streaming section as in movies, but now that seems to have flip-flopped. Either way, we're talking DC Studios. So DC Films is no more. The film studio that was created, that was led up by Walter Hamada, is no more. It is now being called DC Studios, and is going to be in charge of more than just movies. It is going to be DC movies, it's going to be DC TV shows, as well as DC animation. So all of that stuff is going to be coming from one studio. And the biggest part of this, I know I've totally buried the lead on this, but the biggest part of this is that James Gunn and his production partner Peter Safran are both going to be the heads of this new DC Studios studio. So apparently, why can I not remember that name? So apparently, James Gunn is going to be the one that is in charge of the artistic direction and making sure everything kind of flows together and works. He is going to be, for all intents and purposes, the Kevin Feige of the situation. And then Peter Safran is going to be the man who makes sure production happens. So he's going to be the man who secures financing and kind of, you know, sets budgets and all that thing. All of the boring side of the Kevin Feige job, that's going to be Safran. So yeah, huge. Also, not super surprising. This was a rumor that I had been hearing since San Diego Comic-Con, but I don't know, it just didn't seem like anything that was really going to be entertaining to talk about, and when it was a rumor, so we didn't really put it in any of the rumor mill sections, but it has been kind of floating around for some time that that James Gunn was going to be the guy, and now James Gunn is the guy. So rumor confirmed, I guess. That's what we got on that one, though. So let's move next to actually a really interesting one with Disney and Doctor Who. So Doctor Who is moving into, I don't even remember how many seasons it was because I didn't put it in the notes because they take amazing notes. But it's the 15th Doctor that we're getting now with Nakuti. I can't remember his last name. And so it's been going for a long damn time. It's been going since like the 50s, if I'm remembering correctly. There was some time off there in the middle, but either way, one of the longest running nerd IPs out there is going into, you know, some pretty epic territory at this point. That being said, up until this point, the only distribution rights for Doctor Who was through BBC. BBC America, BBC streaming platform, BBC, I think, exclusively in the UK. That was the only way to get it. Now, The production staff at Doctor Who, whoever's in charge of that side of things for that property, have struck up a deal with Disney so that it will still be on all of those BBC platforms, but it will also be on Disney Plus going forward. They're not going to do the back catalog. They're only going to do, I believe, since Jodie Whittaker left as that Doctor, they're going to be picking up with the new Doctor, and everything going forward is going to be on Disney Plus as well. So it's not exclusive. They're not, which is very interesting considering Disney does like to keep everything pretty exclusive to their platform. It's not the case here, but still pretty dang interesting nonetheless. That's all we've got there. Let's move into TV streaming suggestions. This one, I honestly, if you listened to the intro to this episode, the That Just Happened, this should be no surprise. Cabinet of Curiosities is our suggestion for the week. Oh my God, it's 2 episodes. It's barely over an hour worth of material, but as you're getting ready for Halloween, these 2 episodes will set the mood almost like nothing else. I think there is one other series on Netflix that is better than this as far as Halloween moods, and we're going to talk about that one next week in suggestions. But this week, check out Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. Once again, this has been just a brief segment from the larger episode that has been posted over on the main channel, youtube.com/generallynerdy. Go over there for the long form content, or just subscribe here if you want it in bite-sized chunks. Thank you very much for joining me, nerds. We'll see you in the next one. Before we go though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.